Okay, so I'm going to do my three Chieftain whistles. I've got a Chieftain V3 from 2007. I've got a Kerry Optima. It's got a couple cracks in the head shell that I gouged out with a penknife and filled with epoxy. It's the silver plastic head shell. Seems like it plays fine, and I have a spare that Phil Hardy sent uh, when he found out about that. So I don't think there's an issue with that. If it does crack, there's a replacement for it. So and then I have the Chieftain Custom, and Chieftain Custom. I really like my V3, and I've liked it for a long time. Its drawback is it plays a little flat. You've got to give it a lot of air. It takes a lot of air, and so you can't play as long on a single breath. But I like it's got a big, full, fat sound, and at the V4, Phil Hardy scaled back the volume a little bit on his V series, and so they're quieter whistles, so probably better for house playing and apartment playing and everything. You can play them in a session. Any low whistle, I think, in a noisy session, it gets lost. It just does. I've got an MK Pro, which is a fairly loud low D whistle, and first octave, you can't really hear it. On most sessions, unless there's just a handful of people there. So yeah, it's just the nature of it. So I didn't think that the volume needed to be decreased, but again, I don't live in an apartment, so I don't have a neighbor on that side. I've got a parking lot, and my other neighbor is there's some distance between us. So if you do have a neighbor in an apartment, this actually might be a very good whistle. I found that you need to blow it pretty hard in the first octave, a little bit softer in the second octave but it results in kind of I think it probably gives it better bounce. I have not played this one a lot. I got it out. I messed around with it a few days. I like my V3 better. And my MK Pro and a lot of the other ones. So I haven't really done much with it. So this is a whistle. I think that it's going to get whoever buys it, it's going to get better the more you focus on it, and that's true of any low D. Every whistle has kind of its quirks and its the way it wants to be blown, and the more time you spend with it, it's the same with the Copeland. You have to learn how hard you can push it, where you can push it, when you should push it, when you need to like be a little bit more gentle. This one, I think, when I push it in the second octave, it tends to go sharp, and so I have to be careful with that. So it's just not something that I'm going to spend a lot of time with. So, but that being said, here's how it sounds. The tone is nice. Again, quieter, a bit thicker than the V3, but it's got some nice complexity. Doesn't really hit that third octave D very well, but again, I don't. That's a like totally optional note on a low whistle or any whistle. I don't ever use it. But if you care about such things, I don't think this one does a very good job of it. But I only use it up till pretty much the high B. Sometimes a C natural. I'll half hole a C natural, but that's about as high as I've ever gone. But if you're wanting to play Celtic hymn, this is not the whistle for it. The other thing I don't like about the V5, the V5, I didn't like about the V5 is the rounded beak. I think it definitely looks slick, but I think it's more for people who like to stick the whistle a little bit further into their mouth than I do. I tend to like just barely rest it, so my lips are forming a seal, right here. And what ends up happening sometimes, what happened with the V5, and again, this is just a matter of like get used to it with the whistle, but I don't play them that often. But see how the channel kind of peaks and curves down? What I sometimes end up doing is I'll just cover the tip with my lips, and then if I move the whistle a little bit to the side or something, every once in a while it'll unseal and I'll get a hissing sound, or the tone will suffer because I'm not actually fully covering the windway width. So I've actually thought about taking finding someone with a grinder, or even taking it out and just grinding off the round edge and making that flatter just a little bit, because that's how my V3 is. It's just got a kind of a squared off end. So I put it in my mouth. As long as I'm covering, that width with my lips, it's just a personal preference. But it's like I said, it's like an aesthetic design thing, and I'd rather not have it. But but again, if you buy this from me, I'm not a great salesman on this, but. And Phil Hardy talked about this when he said, "Can you hear the sizzle?" And I do. I like the tone. There is a little bit of like a sizzling complexity to it. See, anyway, so you get the idea. So yeah, that's the Chieftain Custom, and it's heavier than my V3. I guess it's got more in this in the tuning slide. There's a tuning slide on it, so it's tunable. So I'll probably sell this one for $150 or so. So just to give you I'll do real quick. So. Here's my V3. V3, not for sale. And then the Kerry Optima. So it reminds me a little bit of my Goldie. I know they share, I think I talked about this in a different video, they actually share a common design background in the Overtons. And again, the Kerry Pros are same sort of general design, just handcrafted, and instead of like a I guess what is this, injection mold or something. But I think Phil said this gives you something like 80% of what you'd get out of a Kerry Pro, so it's got a nice tone. It's more open than my Goldie. My Goldie is a little bit more compressed, a little bit more nasally. So this one has kind of a nice, open, windier tone. Excuse me. Chieftain Custom again. Kerry Pro or Kerry Optima. So this one I think takes more air than the Custom. The Custom has a little bit more back pressure. Again, thicker tone, a little bit less open. So it's someone said they have too much back pressure, and I don't see it. It doesn't have as much back pressure as my Goldie. I'll play my Goldie real quick. It's cold. It's a coldie Goldie. But. So the difference between my Goldie, it's a stronger on the bottom end. But definitely more back pressure than the Chieftain Custom. Goldie. And the ornamentation is a little bit snappier, but you get a slightly softer tone with the Kerry Optima. But again, good, nice value whistles. I said if you're looking for a good, solid low D, especially if you don't have another one and you plan to spend some time focusing on the low D, I think both the Optima and the Custom will get you in the it'd be a good start, and probably whistles you could stick with for quite a while. So anyway, I hope that's interesting. I wanted to like I said, mainly document the two Chieftains that I had before selling them, hopefully to buy a Christmas present for my wife. So thanks.